Hey, my nerds and geeks, this is Joshua from Future Filmmaker 3940 Reviews, where I talk movies, TV, music, and I'm giving you guys my long-awaited, spoiler-free thoughts for the first Disney Plus Marvel TV show, and that is WandaVision, which is based on the characters of the same name, created from Marvel. This is the first TV show from Disney Plus. This stars Elizabeth Olsen, Paul Bettany, Teyonah Parris, Kathryn Hahn, Randall Park, and Kat Dennings. And before I go any further, this is set after Avengers Endgame and will lead into Multiverse Madness. And this is going to be a completely voice-over, spoiler-free review, as I do not want to give away spoilers, because many of you guys have seen this, but there are some of you guys that have yet to see this. With that being said, let's get into the plot of WandaVision. So WandaVision takes place after the events of Avengers Endgame, where we see a grieving Wanda Maximoff as she makes an ideal life for herself with Wanda and Vision, living in a suburban lifestyle in the town of Westview, New Jersey, trying to conceal their true natures. As the surroundings begin to move through different eras and different decades, and then encounter various TV tropes, the couple suspects that things are not as they always seem. And there are a lot of twists and turns around the way that I don't want to give away because, again, this is spoiler free. So let's get into how I feel. Now, when it comes to these MCU Disney Plus TV shows, of the ones, WandaVision was the one that interested me the most. Because you have Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch, and Vision. And these two, I think, are two of the most underutilized characters of the MCU. Until this show, which this show really is basically about them, but also this would be a good idea to have Scarlet Witch give her more development than we already knew her from, and also take the time to really give us a look at the romance. But another reason why I was also very interested in this is because the whole is weird and zany idea. I find the idea of going through multiple decades very fascinating, very interesting, and it's just something that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is doing for a change. And this was initially supposed to come out at the end of last year, but of course, because of reasons, which I'm not going to mention it here, it got pushed to 2021, January 15th. And after seeing all 9 episodes, I'm thrilled with this show. This is the best TV show for me of 2021. And the reason why I decided to take so long in reviewing it is because I was going to review after it ended, but due to the whole toxicity over the ending of the show and the finale and the reactions, and also because I wanted to fully set on this to make sure I feel exactly how I feel about the show. So that's why this review of WandaVision is a little late, but just getting into it right now, starting off with my positives, because there is a lot of them. The first thing I really do want to talk about is how this show takes both Wanda and Vision and puts them into this different state of things. Of course, this takes place weeks after the ending of Avengers Endgame, and there was a certain scene in a certain episode, in episode 7 or 8, that they were going to have, which we'll get into when I talk spoilers next month about this, but just putting Wanda and Vision in this whole surreal suburban lifestyle, and we don't know what is going on, and we don't know why things are happening the way they are. I think it's very fascinating. I was really fascinated with the decision that Matt Shakman, the director and the story writer and writer of the show, Jac Schaeffer, really wanted to do. I could tell that they had a vision for what they really wanted to go to, I appreciate the fact that they wanted to try something new with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, then to just do the same thing over and over again with Vision and Wanda. And me being a big fan of the Scarlet Witch and Vision character, it made me very happy for them to have a show of their own. Yes, for some people, the whole slow pace in the first half is not gonna be for them, but I appreciate the slow build up because it gives us time to figure things out on our own rather than just straight up telling you in the first episode. The first 3 episodes of this show, up until you get to episode 4, you're just left intrigued with what's going on. Why are things happening this way? Why is this happening? That's what I very much loved, and that I feel like is great writing from the writers of WandaVision, including the main writer who will be writing the Black Widow movie this coming July. But I really do also really love the fact that when you get to why things are happening the way they are, the twists and turns doesn't stop there. You get the laughs, you get the drama, but this at its core is very much Wanda's show. This is Vision's show. He gets some good moments, but at the core, this is about a girl who is pretty much dealing with the loss of grief and having to rise above the grief. And you ask yourself as you watch all 9 of these episodes, can Wanda overcome her grief and deal with this, or will she be secluded to the grief and go bad? And I felt like this is going to be a very controversial opinion. I don't really care, but I feel like this show delves into that aspect of a woman being able to try and control her powers. I felt like they delved into this a lot more than 2019's X-Men Dark Phoenix, which I've talked enough about Dark Phoenix. That is a very frustrating film. It's even coming from me as an X-Men fan. But the way they choose to deal with the pain and grief and the suffering, I felt like it was very genius, and just it felt like that you understand where Wanda's coming from. You tell she's not doing this, but at the same time you think, is she doing this? Is she not doing this? And just let me just say right now, that's my biggest pro, is the directing and the writing. That is my biggest praise, and I have to give Jac Schaeffer, the head writer, and the other writers who worked on the show, and the director, a lot of credit. They have a hand on these characters, and Marvel, they have been doing very well with these characters for about 12 years now, since Iron Man started this whole Marvel Cinematic Universe. But just the way it plays out, it unfolds in a very emotional, heartbreaking, and very creative ways that it really caught me off guard. It really took me by surprise. You could tell that there was a lot of passion into the show. You could tell that when you see both where Wanda's coming from and where Vision's coming from, and the people who are trying to help her, you see that and you feel that. So I definitely give this show a lot of credit. And also just the way they homage each decade, from the 50s to the 60s to the 70s to the 80s to the 90s to now to the 2000s, with parodying favorite shows like Malcolm in the Middle, Modern Family, and I Love Lucy. I think it's genius. And it's the fact that they actually had a live studio audience with the first 3 episodes. And with episode 5, it's very genius. It's very creative. You could basically, Marvel, I praise DC a lot, but with Marvel, they can pretty much do anything they want. And just the fact that they really knew what they were doing here. is a big round of applause. Next up, I do have to get into the cast, of course, because this show would not be as great as it is without its cast. The writing and directing is great, but I want to talk about the cast, of course. First off, returning players. Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda Maximoff, Scarlet Witch. It is no secret that this is my favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe female character and one of my favorite characters in general. And here, I gotta say, this is the best I've seen of Elizabeth Olsen. I love her in her other films, including the Godzilla 2014 film and her other Marvel Cinematic Universe appearances, but this really gives her a chance to shine. Elizabeth Olsen, of course, is a great actress. She's very pretty, she's gorgeous, she is the third sister of the Olsen family, and she is just as talented as Mary-Kate Ashley, and her performance here, the way that she has to act through each decade, is very amazingly well done, and I feel like is deserving of an Emmy nomination, because she really has to bring a lot of emotion and weight and a lot of anger and a lot of pain and a lot of guilt and a lot of hurt into her performance, as you see that she might be happy with Vision in her little alternate reality, but in reality she is still dealing with grief, and the sitcom era is a way of her dealing with that. But again, Olsen, this brings the character more into her line with the comic book version, including playing on the fact of her mental illness, while it introduces the Scarlet Witch moniker that has not been used in the previous MCU movies. It explores the extent and the origins of her powers, and her ownership as Wanda. Olsen's portrayal as Wanda is very heightened during this series, and we get to explore new parts of her personality, such as her humor and sassiness, and she was great as a supporting character for Wanda, but here, having her own show, it focuses amazingly on her, and there are so many comic storylines that inspire her performance, and also the way she is influenced by Mary Tyler Moore and Elizabeth Montgomery and Lucille Ball from their classic shows of back in the day definitely helps her performance. And obviously, of course, throughout this entire show, Elizabeth Olsen, she is gorgeous, she is hot. I'm just putting that out there. It's obvious. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to sugarcoat that whatsoever. So, with that being said, here's the little clip. And behind every good woman has every good man, and that leads me into Paul Bettany as Vision, who is a former Avenger created by Jarvis and Ultron using the Mind Stone. And this is the first time seeing Paul Bettany back, because he was nowhere to be found in Avengers Endgame, because he basically died at the end of Avengers Infinity War, which that, as much as I don't like the ending of that movie, that scene with him being sacrificing himself, that was one of the most heartbreaking moments of the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. But seeing him here, he is funny when he needs to be. He's very energetic in the role. You can tell that Paul Bettany, he's having fun, and it's good to see him back. And this version of Vision, he's decent and he's honorable, and his performances are influences by Dick Van Dyke and Hugh Laurie for this. And he plays the original character here, and he's reassembled by Sword, which we'll get to when I talk spoilers about it, because I don't want to give away anything in case you ain't watched the show. But I have to tell you that the way that he plays his role here, I think is amazing. He and Olsen have fantastic chemistry that just lights up the room, and they do a fantastic job at their performances. They bring out the humor, they bring out the romantic parts, and they bring out the emotional weight that is required for each of them. There's also one scene in this series that is definitely one of my favorite scenes of dialogue, and is also he has one of my favorite lines of this entire show. what is grief if not love preserving? I love that line. Other returning actors is Kat Dennings returning as Darcy Lewis and Randall Park as Jimmy Woo, both from the Thor movies and Ant-Man movies. First off, Jimmy Woo. Of course, he's an FBI agent. This time around, he's working with SWORD, and he was the parole officer of Scott Lang. So this time around, we get to see him tackle on bigger and larger cases, and he's getting better at multiple things. And he also has this whole magic trick that he's having, and I really liked seeing him back. He was very fun. He was very awesome. I thought he was great, and he's very, very funny. I think his whole comedic timing with the Kat Dennings is also really great. But also, Kat Dennings is Darcy Lewis, which I gotta say, I never thought we would see her come back again, but she's back, and it made me happy seeing her back. She's now working with SWORD, and she's returning since the Dark World, and Darcy has not changed as much as a person. She's still funny, but after going to school, she's more older and wiser, and she has a doctorate in astrophysics, and she is viewed more as the boss this time around, and this character has a lot more confidence. Yes, she's still funny, yes, she's still awesome, and she's still very much of a joy to watch, and I can't really say anything bad about that. So it's very cool to see Kat Dennings and Randall Park get some play into this show. Two other supporting characters that I thought were really awesome once again. So, of course, that easily put a smile on my face.
Kick-ass.
Yes, of course, I'm gonna say it, Kat Dennings is still hot. But come on. Getting into a new character this time, we have Kathryn Hahn as Agatha Harkness, or Agnes the Nosy Neighbor, which Kathryn Hahn, she is a great choice for this character. She is awesome here within the fictional sitcom world. Agnes is a character who won't get off their couch at the end of the night. She's always in everybody's business, and I very much love this character, of course. Of course, she's very funny, but we also find out later on that she's not who you say she is. Of course, you may know her from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse as Olivia Octavius. She was hilarious in that movie. But here in WandaVision, I felt like she got a lot more play in this role. Every time she is just enjoying it, her scenery that she's in, and even when you get to a whole reveal of her, I think that was also very well done. And of course, we'll get into it when I talk spoilers, but I just want to say that, of course, we do get into that. But she really does a good job here in the role, and I was very pleased with Kathryn Hahn. Of course, yes, Kathryn Hahn is a very gorgeous woman, and she was great in the role. Now for the last edition, and that is Teyonah Parris as Monica Rambeau, the daughter of Maria Rambeau, all grown up, and returning character from Captain Marvel. And this was a character I was very much impressed with. Of course, we seen her in Captain Marvel, and after that movie, we weren't ready for how big this character was gonna be. And I just gotta say, Teyonah Parris, I thought did a great job. She has a toughness and an ability to be a woman in a world dominated by men, and she looked up to Captain Marvel. But this, we do get a little something with her, but also here, this shows how far Rambeau has come into her life. And also, Teyonah Parris, she does a really great job. I do want to see more of this actress, and I do want to see more of her as Monica Rambeau in next year's Captain Marvel 2, in which she'll be Because they do hint a little bit that this character is a little upset with Carol Danvers, aka Brie Larson's Captain Marvel, but she's the black version of Captain Marvel. It was good that they didn't just put her in this as a response to being woke. They actually went out of their way and added some diversity to her. And Teyonah, I was very much pleased with her. She's beautiful in the role. She played the Geraldine part of the sitcom world very well. But also, you could tell that even she is going through grief herself. So I definitely do have to give the show points for that and for being able to tackle another character who's dealing with a loss in terms of her mother, which I will say a small spoiler, but I won't say anything else there. But all of the women on the show, obviously, you have a great casting choice of beautiful women here on the show, from Elizabeth Olsen to Teyonah Parris to Kathryn Hahn to, of course, Kat Dennings. And for that, I just have to play these little clips.
Kick-ass. You want the truth? You want the truth? You can handle the truth! Damn!
And before we go into the next thing I want to talk about, here's a little montage. Other actors, of course, you have Evan Peters returning as Ralph Bonner, but he's mainly Quicksilver. But my only real issue with him, he's great here. He is great seeing him as the twin brother of Pietro, but my only real issue with him is that he's from the X-Men series, and he is the better one of the two Quicksilvers, but he was great. He didn't have a whole lot of scenes, but I thought for his little screen time on the show, I thought he did a very good job. It does annoy me a little bit that you couldn't get Aaron Taylor Johnson back, of course, since that version died in the Age of Ultron. That does annoy me a little bit, but what can you do? Other than that, I thought it was a fine casting choice. Of course, you have the two kids of the show, which is Billy and Tommy, played by Julian Hilliard and Jet Klein, and I thought they were great. I can't wait to see where this will take them in Multiverse of Madness, because they are confirmed there. But probably my least favorite character on this show is Josh Sternberg. I hated this character as the sword director. He just wants to take down Wanda Maximoff, seeing her as a threat. But I thought he was great as well. He was really great here, and he did a phenomenal job in this as well. So everyone in the cast does a really great job for the most part. They all got their time to shine. No one in the show felt like they were being phoned in or shoehorned in. The acting is great from everybody, and everybody does a fantastic job. Now let's get into, of course, technical aspects. Editing of this movie, the editing and the camera work. The way this show is edited and the way this show is well production designed, I think is very well done. I love the production design of this and the costume designs. It fits each era amazingly well. Every single era that the show takes place in is fantastic. I think it's great, and I think it's creative. Also, editing wise, the way the show is edited is very amazing. the editors does a really great job at recapturing the editing style of each era, while also bringing their own individual flavor to it as well. Also, the music by Christoph Beck here is very well done, especially the theme songs. Every theme song in each era is very catchy. It's very fun to listen to. But my two favorites are, of course, the main theme song they use in episode 2 and the Newlywed theme song. I thought that those were very funny and very cool. But again, the humor is balanced very well. You have a great usage of humor in the humor side of the show, but also the show does add on some horror elements, because there is quite a few horror elements that remind you of a lot of other movies. There are great references to the MCU, and also there are nice homages to their respective TV shows, and also also some homages to other horror films. And the cinematography in this, I have to give credit to the cinematography. From the aspect ratios of the widescreen and the 1.851 aspect ratio and the 4:3 aspect ratio. This is great cinematography, and this definitely should be in the contending nominations for cinematography, because this is damn good cinematography. Like, it hits you. It hits you. It knows what you want to be. The sitcom references doesn't feel forced. They feel very natural for what this show is going for. And the mystery aspect is the most intriguing part for me. I love the mystery aspect. Just the way things play out in the mystery aspect of WandaVision for the first couple, all the way up to the last episode. You're there. You're just along for this. And for some people who has watched the show and who has yet to watch the show, this will not work for them. And it doesn't bother me here. I like the mystery aspect of WandaVision. I like the fact that the writers, they don't hold your hand. They don't just spoon give you the answer straight away. It takes all the episodes, even going back and rewatching all 9 episodes, which I did not do, but I plan on doing because I love the show so much. It knew what it was. The sitcom settings and tropes and the tonal shifts is very consistent. It's very amazingly well done. And just getting back into the main thing about WandaVision is the grief. The grief here. The grief part of this is because you may think this is a sitcom heavy, but this is really about a woman who has lost everything. She's lost her brother. She's lost the man she loves. She's lost her family, and just this really does make you care about Wanda. You care about Wanda and her struggle, which is something I wish Dark Phoenix would have done better, instead of just being a boring, frustrating disappointment as it was. It focused heavily on what is going on with Wanda. Why is she feeling the way she's feeling? Why is these things happening the way they are? It hits you. It hits you. And it shows, and also the relationship with Wanda and Vision, it shows how beautiful his love for it is. And this gives a lot to Vision. And just it's a very, the performances did not miss anything for that. I was into it. It's very well put together. This is very engrossing. I couldn't hate anything about it. It hit me. This is one of the most inventive and well put together things I've seen Marvel or DC done. I'm a big fan of these characters, but getting to do TV shows with characters that has not been able to fully shine, I think is is genius for Disney Plus and Marvel. And if this is what they're gonna do for more, I'm interested to see where Hawkeye is gonna go. I'm in the minority, but I really love Falcon and the Winter Soldier and what that's doing with Falcon and Bucky. Loki, I'm not interested in, but everything else Marvel TV show related, I'm excited for. Hawkeye, I may be hesitant a little bit on the Kate Bishop character, not because of Haley Steinfeld, but I just want to see how you handle it. But also getting back to it, I haven't even talked about the title sequences. Every title sequence in here is amazing. It is great homage to the sitcoms era. The title sequences feel very fluent and very cool. My two favorites are the Malcolm in the Middle one, but my number one favorite is the Bewitched one. It gives you that Bewitched, I Dream of Janine vibes. It gives you those whole vibes of watching this when you were a kid and when I was a kid. And if you are a fan of any of those shows from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, all the way up to now, I think this is going to be your type of thing. But the story and the characters and the acting is what really makes this what it is. And I'm very impressed with how this turned out. Come on, you really thought I was gonna say something bad about this show? No, I have nothing bad, nothing negative to say about this masterpiece, this masterful, magnificent, brilliant, just, you see how happy I am as I'm recording my voiceover for this. I have nothing negative to say about this thing. Nothing. At the end of the day, WandaVision, this gave me everything I wanted and more. This is a great show with excellent acting from the cast, including Olsen, Bettany, Parris, Dennings, and Hahn. The amazing tonal shifts as it went along, the amazing writing and direction, great emotional weight, and fantastic humor blended together, as well as excellent cinematography, editing, and music, as well as horror elements here and there, and a finale, which, without spoiling, that was pretty damn satisfying. This is an incredible start to what is going to be a great Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Great setups for Captain Marvel 2, Multiverse of Madness, and more going forward. And this is the best show, not only beating Mandalorian on Disney Plus, but this is the best MCU show of both Netflix and Disney Plus and other TV shows that they've done so far. There is not a single bad thing about this show. Now, know who you are going into this, because there will be some people who won't like the slow build up. But if you are willing to hold on and watch this show unfold, I think you will be very much loving this. I'm going to give WandaVision my JD Spider-Verse seal of approval, because that's how I honestly feel, and I could not have asked for a better Wanda and Vision TV series. I can't wait to see more of Wanda going forward. I can't wait to see what more they're going to do with this new Vision going forward. So, in the comment section down below, tell me what you guys think of WandaVision. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Are you somewhere in the middle? Let's have a nice, friendly, clean conversation about the show. We can disagree, but let's talk about the show. I want to get the conversation going. What was your favorite character? What was your favorite part? What was your least favorite part? What was your favorite episode? What was your favorite title sequence? Well, I want to know all that down below. Did you like what they did with Wanda in this show? Do you think that they elevated her? Let's talk about it in the comment section down below. Thanks you guys so much for watching. If you guys are new to the channel, please be sure to like this video, comment down below all of your thoughts on this fantastic show. Be on the lookout for my spoiler-filled discussion coming on May 14th. share this video with your friends. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to get notified when newest videos are up and when I go live. Otherwise, you won't get notifications for every in the world of those. All my social media links are in the description box down below. If you would like to send more into my time or you want to send fan mail, you can email me or DM me privately as well. All of my merchandise is available in my merchandise store in the description box down below. And if you would like to send any kind of merchandise to me, feel free to do so. Just get in touch with me first. And also, be sure to go check out the 5 Film Geeks podcast channel that me and my YouTube friends have just started. It's run by Kenneth from Kenneth Movie Corners. You guys keep it cool and join the Epictasticness. Bye bye everyone.